Are one of the co-founders and a longtime entrepreneur and who's been working in the space for several years. Okay. Anyway, join me in welcoming Mike Pettit from OpenAmplify.
Can you hear me okay with this little wired thing here? We good? Okay. Thanks very much for sticking around for a few minutes. I know we're all ready to go out and have a cocktail. I know I am. But just, if you could, give me just a few minutes. We'd like to announce something. I need to find this clicker thing, don't I? Where is that? Is that this? Q thing? Is this it? Yeah. Somebody say it is? Yeah. Okay, thanks very much. The announcement we're going to make, I'm hoping will be of specific interest to the folks that are in this room here. It's called Ampliverse. We think it's the first of its kind. And we hope and believe it's going to be a game changer for those of us who are trying to monetize web content, especially social media content. This is going to probably appear to you to be sort of a slightly different view on semantics than you've heard for a lot of the program so far today, but I think you're going to find it interesting. A little background. Some of you may know that OpenAmplify has had as its main mission surfacing the meaning of content. Given an unstructured document or a web page, we can do analysis very, very rapidly. We're scaled up very large on the cloud and can do this millions or tens of millions of times a day without any problem. Given an unstructured document, we will return an XML document that details the topics under discussion, what the sentiments are towards those topics, what types of intentional information has been expressed, i.e. if you're talking about BMW, for example, you're talking about buying one or selling one or, I don't know, blowing one up or something. We can differentiate between that, tell you not only what that intentional information is, but what the timescales are, what the level of decisiveness is. There's a lot of information that we can return through the analysis of a textual document that we refer to in the whole as meaning or understanding. But one of the things that we've discovered as we've talked to more and more customers is that when it comes to customizing, when it comes to monetizing this information, understanding by itself is not really enough. Most people need some form of customized classification. So given an example like, I'm going to get that nice new clutch this weekend, should I buy it online or at the mall? To some of us that may appear to be about cars, but to others it could be about handbags, especially if you have to sell handbags. Everybody needs to view the universe in their own terms. And so we can customize a taxonomy, but that in itself is only half the challenge. Yes, okay, it's about handbags, but what about handbags? And we believe that without understanding, classification is not in itself an adequate and complete solution to being able to monetize all this wonderful content that's out there, especially user-generated content. The classification, if you're going to do it, has to reflect your special needs, not generalized needs. There's plenty of services out there that can look at some content and surface some classification information from it. But in a way, they're kind of imposing a view of the world on you. We're discovering that people really need to be able to do it their way. And so we start talking in terms of monetization requiring a 1-2 punch, not just classification, but the understanding as well. The combination of the two in that specific example might lead to a monetizable outcome like place a handbag ad, but you really need both of those things to be able to do it. And Ampliverse is a response to that reality. So if we can, we're going to just spend a couple of minutes here. Is that visible, that stuff down the bottom? That kind of looks funny. Well, trust me, that's text, okay? Now, Ampliverse, first and foremost, is a very, very simple, easy to use format. We kept it simple. We're trying to make sure that adoption isn't difficult. We therefore decided that we would go in this first go-around with a taxon, just a basic tree structure, that we felt that most users' requirements could be met that way. And that there would be a nice, easy learning curve. And if you could read that clearly down there, you'd see that representing handbags and clutch and purse underneath that, all as a subnode of fashion, is fairly easy to do. It's just node text equals. Okay. So we decided to keep it simple for starters. Once you've sort of represented your universe in in that easy format, then you can go to the OpenAmplify platform and upload that. We provide an upload page, or you can build all this in a builder that I'll show you in a little while. It's kind of fun. And the OpenAmplify system returns to you something called an Ampliverse ID, which is durable. Basically, it says that scheme of the universe that you have defined, we're going to call that Ampliverse number 1239. Now, once you have that ID, you can then just include that ID in your call to the OpenAmplify API, and it returns in a single operation not only the understanding about Clutch being viewed positively and intent to buy this weekend, and that people are seeking advice on buying it, which are things that make it an opportunity, but the classification that tells you what type of an ad you might want to place. I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself there. So in a single pass, the API, literally in sub-second type of response times, tells you all of the stuff you need to do to be able to make some kind of a monetization decision. Okay, so we thought we would go with a couple of quick case studies here to try to bring that down to ground. We're working with a major CRM provider, social CRM provider. CRM is characterized by a challenge in terms of caseload management. There's a lot of messages flowing in and out. Most of them probably don't require any specific type of action, but those that do need to be fully understood, and then you need to be able to take some decisions around what actions you're going to perform against that. In this particular example, this was actually a demo we used when we first started working with these folks. Okay, hang on a second, sorry. That example at left is a typical message that might come in. My new phone is cool, I like the features, but you should make it easier to download apps without my having to get them through my computer. Based on the rules that we were able to understand from the CRM provider, we're able to figure out on the understanding side that this is actually an opportunity for engagement. There's positive sentiment towards the phone. They're offering some kind of advice about how we might be able to improve the product. This is a relationship that they may be able to deepen. But that understanding is only half the game. You still need to understand what you're going to be able to do with it. And that's where taxonomy comes in. Given a custom taxonomy, you should, and using words like phone, features, download, and apps, they were able to build the taxonomy that allowed them to make a routing decision. In this particular case, this is an engaged customer, let's route it to the handset tech CRM team. So the combination of the classification and the understanding was what allowed them to monetize or deliver value from that information from the customer. A second case load, we look at a social media publisher. We're working with a lot of these folks. They have a conundrum in terms of raising the value of their inventory, and there's a paradox in that for the first time in history through social media, we truly have the voice of the customer available to us in profusion and generally free. There's a tremendous amount of expression out there of people's desires, likes, dislikes, etc. But paradoxically, brands can be very frightened about the prospect of advertising next to that inventory because it may be brand negative or just completely unsuitable. It may be irrelevant. What they really want to be able to do is make sure that their brand or their product is placed next to appropriate content. But you can't do that unless you understand it, and there's an awful lot of it. Okay, so the OpenAmplify platform on the understanding side is capable of looking at a text like, I tested a nice new camera yesterday, great acceleration, hybrid option. If the price is right, I'll buy one. And identify that the topic is Camry, that the polarity towards it is positive, and there's intent to buy. This is an opportunity. However, what are you going to do about it? That's where the taxonomy comes in. Classification allows us to figure out what type of an ad to serve. So given words like acceleration and hybrid, we know we're talking about a car. Given Camry, we can very easily determine that it's a Toyota. And then you can decide which type of an ad you want to serve, at what level in that taxonomy might be most profitable to you. Again, the understanding and the classification allows to monetize the social media content. So that's a couple of case studies. Let's talk for a moment about how Ampliverse is delivered. As we mentioned, there's a simple format that you can use to build out your world. Any old text editor, most tools that build taxonomies can produce output that's easily transformed into that simple node structure that we showed you there. As I mentioned, there's an upload page that you can go to put those things into the OpenAmplify platform. On top of that, we have an Ampliverse builder. We really like this. We built it on the again, to keep it simple and make sure that the functionality was focused, we built it on the open source FreeMind product, which is a mind mapper that billions of people use. But we made some interesting extensions to it. This, by the way, is just an example of a taxonomy we're building. We're working on the IAB top-level taxonomy to help work on ad classification. We extended it with some features that are particularly valuable. If, for example, you don't know specific words that may relate to something, in this example it's nutrition, but if somebody came to you and said, I need a taxonomy about curling, you don't know much about curling, it would be useful if you could get suggestions about related words and topics that go with curl. In this particular, God bless you, in this particular example here, right-clicking and saying, give me child nodes for nutrition is going to pop up a list of words that might or might not be related to nutrition. And you can select the ones you think work for your taxonomy. Bam, you've added another level to that taxonomy. So the tool allows you to build out a taxonomy very quickly, or at least more quickly than if you couldn't get some suggestions around it. Furthermore, we permit you to test in place. Assuming that you have an OpenAmplify API key, and anybody here can get one of those, they're free. They allow you to use the service 1,000 times a day for free anytime. Armed with an API key, you can enter a text or a URL to Spider. We'll pull in that text, execute it against your taxonomy, and lo and behold, in this particular case, you can see that not only has it been classified appropriately, dietitian up to nutrition, up to health and medicine, but it also delivers the understanding, the fact that we're not particularly positive about Sarah the dietitian because he's not letting side for sticky buns. So the tool permits you to do all of this right within it. It's free. Come to the website, openamplify.com, download it, use it, build out your view of the universe. We recognize the fact that not everybody can connect the dots on their own. They may not have the internal expertise. It's probably not an issue for most of the people here. But a lot of organizations don't have either the bandwidth or the specific knowledge to be able to tackle something like this on their own. So they need someone who's got the expertise, who can connect the dots, provide the ongoing support. So we're very pleased to announce today that we have formed an alliance with Early & Associates, who are a leading taxonomy provider. They're fully versed in the Ampliverse technologies. Of course, they know plenty about building taxonomies. And the triangulation of your requirements, our tools, and the combination of understanding and classification that we can deliver very efficiently, and Early & Associates knowledge, we hope guarantees that you will be able to meet your monetization goals. Okay, so that's my little announcement. I'd like to encourage you all to go to www.openamplify.com if you please. Pick up a free API key, give it all a test drive. You can use it 1,000 times a day, as I mentioned, every day, free of charge for any purpose that you wish. We have no plans of changing that, so if you can make something happen for you in 1,000 analyses a day, feel free, and let us know what you're up to. And I'd like to thank you very much for paying attention to this. And we'll see if you'd like to drop by our booth, we'd very much like to show this to you. So thank you.